This video is about to change how you see everything from your past relationship dynamics, your current relationship, to the people you keep on attracting. I bet you nobody has explained this stuff properly to you before. If you're in a relationship and you're the one that's always doing the chasing and you literally feel like you're carrying the weight of the relationship on your back, or if you are the one who always runs away when things get serious and you're like, on either side, you're like, why am I like this? We're going to be breaking down the anxious avoidant trap. They call it trap dynamic. I don't like the word trap because you can escape it. And once you understand this, literally everything is going to click and you're going to feel way more secure in yourself. Okay, so let's say we have two people. We have Emma on this hand and we have Mark on this hand. Emma literally craves connection. She feels like she needs it in order to feel safe. So Emma fears that she's going to be abandoned, and that comes from the core belief of her not feeling lovable. So she feels like she has to do everything to earn love. So her nervous system is then wired to prevent her from feeling that abandonment. So if you're watching this, I know you might be an Emma, because I know when I was anxiously attached, I was always Googling and watching YouTube videos on how to try become more secure or how to fix the dynamic I was in with an avoidant partner. So Emma, I got you. On the other hand, we have Mark. He is the avoidant type, so he fears over-engulfment or loss of self. So what he does is he will shut down, create space, do anything to just avoid getting super close to others, because that is unsafe for him. And this can also be because they fear rejection, so their nervous system will protect itself by pre-abandoning others to feel safe. So Emma and Mark come together and they have an amazing connection, and in this instance, maybe they've just had a family weekend away together, or they've just had a weekend alone away together and it's been really vulnerable and it's been really nice. This then causes Mark to have a freaker, and he's like, oh my God, ew, like I need my space. Like this is too much. You know, that engulfment fear comes up, or that rejection fear comes up, and he's like, no, I need to do anything to create space. So he then withdraws. Emma, on the other hand, senses this disconnect and she's literally like, oh my God, I am going to be abandoned. I need to regain this connection. So what she does is she will literally text Mark a million times. She might try make plans, and he is like, oh my God, this sends him further away from her, and he's like, I just need my space, but yet he doesn't communicate that. And then Emma freaks out even more, texts more, she might start a fight. She's literally spiraling because she does not feel safe. So eventually Emma gives up to protect herself, and then this causes Mark to come back in, because Emma has then given him the space, not because she wants to, but because she has no other choice in her mind. So when he comes back, Emma is literally delighted and she's like, oh my God, yes, he does care. I love him so much. And then the two are together, and then the cycle just repeats itself. And if you've been in this, I've been in this, you're probably in this if you're watching this video, this cycle is exhausting, and it can go on and on and on for months, years, until you decide to either leave the relationship or until you decide to fix your core wounds that is causing this dynamic. We have Emma and we have Mark. Emma comes across as super clingy and she just needs to be close all the time. And then we have Mark, on the other hand, who just loves his space and wants to be hyper independent. So why, with these two people that are so opposite, why on earth would they come together? It doesn't make sense. That's what you think, but it does make sense. So it's actually because this dynamic is familiar to both of these people, and the nervous system will always seek out a familiar hell, you've probably heard, over an unfamiliar heaven, instead of something that is potentially safe. And this is just mirroring the childhood dynamic in both of them. So for Emma, maybe she grew up with a caregiver, a parent who was inconsistent, and not necessarily because they were a bad person. Maybe in her eyes they were, I don't know. But it could be because they had to work, and as a child, we take things personally. We don't understand on a deeper level that our parents have to go to work. So we just see that, you know, connection as inconsistent, and we're like, okay, I need to earn love to be protected and to have this connection the whole time. And then Mark grew up with a parent who was either over engulfing emotionally, or they were just neglectful. So he learned that, okay, in order to feel safe in my body, I need to be away from people. So closeness for me equals danger. And that's really sad, because I think, you know, in life, connection is the basis of everything. And you can see, if you are anxiously attached, why that connection is so important. And it's not like avoidants don't want connection, they actually do. It's just that for them, they've always feared it, you know, and that's actually really sad. So when Emma and Mark meet, Emma feels this spark and she's like, oh my God, she thinks it's love, but it's actually just her nervous system being dysregulated because it reminds her of her childhood. And then Mark, initially he's intrigued, but then he's on high alert because he's like, ew, I'm really close to this person and this is not safe. We've already learned this. So when these two people come together, they unintentionally reaffirm each other's core beliefs. So when Mark leaves Emma, she's like, see, I am too much, like I am going to be abandoned. And see, when Emma clings to Mark, he is like, people are just trying to take away my space. They're trying to take away my freedom. And that is not the case, but they're just constantly reaffirming each other's core wounds. So your subconscious is actually very, very smart. It's not just trying to, play out this dynamic because it's fun and it's exhilarating. It's actually playing out this to try and, heal the wound that you have as a child, to heal the love maybe that you didn't get, or where you felt neglected, or where you felt abandoned. It's just trying to heal that wound. But as you know, unless there's healing, as you probably know watching this video, as I learned, you're just going to constantly feel like re-traumatized, and it's just going to constantly confirm that core belief that you have if you're the anxious, or that core belief you have if you're the avoidant. It's just going to keep happening. You're going to be like, oh my God, everyone wants to leave me. All relationships are the same, or everyone's trying to annoy me and take away my space and freak me out, but that's just not true. If you're anxiously attached, I know you probably feel like you're addicted to the cycle, always going for the same people. I know I was literally addicted to the highs and the lows, but you literally are addicted. The same thing that's going on inside the body is the same tricks casinos use to keep people hooked on the slot machines. It's intermittent reinforcement. And you're not actually chasing them for love, you're just chasing them for relief, to not feel so unsafe, to not feel like you're going to be abandoned. So you might feel like you're crazy, but you're not crazy. You're just stuck in this loop, and it can be broken. So people always ask me, can this work? Like, is my relationship destined to fail if I'm in this? And my answer would be, yeah. No, when you're joking. My answer is, of course, no, it's not destined to fail. It can be fixed, but it requires work on both sides. It doesn't work if you're the anxious type and you're always just looking at videos. Of course, you can improve your own reactions and how you take things, but I think both people need to be aware of their triggers and their patterns in order to really, really fix this cycle and make the connection last. And it's not actually about fixing the other person. It's about looking inwards and trying to heal your own wounds. Because I know when I was in a relationship with somebody who was avoidant, I was always just, pointing the finger at them, being like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Like, why can't you be doing this? Instead of actually being like, okay, no, why do I feel like I need this person's, love and approval all the time, or I need their reassurance 24/7 in order to feel safe in my body, instead of just always deflecting. They say, like, to be with somebody who has an avoidant attachment, you yourself need to be somewhat avoidant towards yourself. And I would completely agree, because I know when I was in this dynamic, I was completely avoidant towards myself. I would always just be like, I would feel niggles and triggers come up, and I'd be like, no, we're not looking inward. So I was therefore emotionally unavailable with myself. So yeah, just noticing these patterns in yourself and choosing not to play out the normal default mode that you usually would always do. So if you're Emma, if you're the anxious, you need to just get better at self-soothing. Like I said before, like, why do you feel like you need Mark in this example in order to feel safe and secure in yourself? You are not unlovable. That's a belief you need to work on overcoming. What you've done is you've just placed your worth and your need for validation in your partner's hands. So that's why if you don't get that, you feel the need to spiral and you feel completely out of whack. You need to stop taking their need for space so personal, okay? You need to see who you are in that space, and I think space is healthy in a relationship. Obviously, I know if you're with an avoidant, they need more space than the average person in order to recalibrate, but that is okay. That does not mean that they are going to leave you or abandon you. And by you not giving yourself space to sit with your own emotions in that distance, you are abandoning yourself. It's funny because, like I said, anxiously attached people have a fear of abandonment, but they end up abandoning themselves because they cling and chase and don't actually sit with themselves and see what it is that they need in that moment. So this is something that you really need to do if you are that way inclined. And this will actually help you create your own sense of safety from within. And that is super, because you can carry that skill into all your relationships in life. And when that pang of anxiety comes up and you're like, uh-oh, here comes the spiral, and you get the urge to maybe, look through their phone or start a fight or text them a million times or text them this massive long paragraph, I just urge you to pause, because there's so much space between reacting and then, just sitting with yourself and seeing what is coming up for you. And then you are really tuning into your own emotions and not self-abandoning. And that is key. And it's just learning to express your needs healthily, without causing an argument or without them emotional spikes. You can say, when you pull away, I feel really anxious. That is totally okay to say. And it's just getting better at being able to communicate your needs to your partner. And then for Mark, for the avoidant, you need to realize that not everybody is trying to take away your space. Okay, it might come as a complete shock. Not everyone is trying to over engulf you. Co-regulation here is key for you. You are amazing at self-soothing. See, Emma needs to learn how to self-soothe, and she could be good with co-regulation, but you on the other hand are amazing at self-soothing. You're like, right, go away, I need my space, I need to recalibrate. But you need to get better at least telling your partner that you need that space, and then coming back to them in sufficient time and being like, okay, can we sort this out, or can we have a conversation, you know? And in that conversation, that might require vulnerability for you. You know, I also had avoidant tendencies at one point in my relationships, and vulnerability was something I really struggled with. But you need to be okay with being vulnerable in order to form a good, lasting relationship, because vulnerability is at the basis of every relationship. So, Mark, if you need to take space, all you need to do is communicate that. Be like, hey, I'm just gonna take some space. I need to just sort my head out. I'll come back and we can discuss it later. You know, communication goes a long way in this dynamic, and it's literally key. There's a reason they say communication is key. And for both people within the dynamic, inner child work can be so beneficial. It's about going back and giving your child self what you needed, what you didn't receive maybe from your caregiver or whoever in that moment, and giving it to yourself. And I am a massive advocate for this. I have done meditations on YouTube. You can literally just search inner child meditation and you will find loads. And you know, people think it's woo-woo, but you know, from the age of 1 to 7, everything just goes into our subconscious mind. So a lot of the time it's actually our child that's running the show. So these meditations are so powerful, and if you are in this dynamic, I urge you to do that. Also, what I found helpful is journaling, you know, asking yourself the right questions. Also, therapy, very useful. Coaching, I am actually a mindset coach and relationship coach, so I help people through this. Books are very helpful. I will link some in the description. I'm pretty sure there's actually one behind me. It's called Attached. It's amazing, but I'll link some more in the description that helped me move to a secure attachment style. And on a final note, there's this common misconception that you need to be fully healed in order to be in a relationship, and that is just not true, okay? You're never going to get to a stage where you are this fully healed person, because life is constantly throwing stuff at us left, right, and center, and we're always healing, we're always evolving, and that's how it should be. And you know, you can't fix your attachment style if you struggle with, you know, anxious or avoidant or disorganized. You can't fix your attachment style if you're not attached to anything. And you know, you see people just ending their relationships and they're like, I need to fix my attachment style, and they might think they're helping themselves out, but they're not, because how on earth are they going to fix that if they don't have a partner that's triggering them? You're never going to find a relationship that doesn't trigger you, and triggers are so helpful because they're literally our teachers. If, for example, you feel triggered when your partner goes out because you feel like you're going to be cheated on due to past fears or whatever it might be, you can use that trigger as a teacher and be like, okay, where is this coming from? And that can help you grow and evolve within your relationship. And I know some people say, well, it's just easier to be single then, because why do I want to do all this work and get triggered by people and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, in an ideal world, like, I wouldn't want to be triggered by anybody, but that's just not going to happen. Like, that's not real life. And then if you end the relationship because of that reason, and then you just get into a relationship again, it's going to happen, and it's going to be a never-ending cycle, and you're just never going to get to know what it's like to experience calm, secure love. And I just think everybody deserves to know what that feels like, because love does not have to be chaos. And I feel like if you've had toxic patterns or been in toxic relationships, you're like, well, love just does equal chaos, but it doesn't have to be that way. It can be calm and steady and secure. Your attachment style can change, like, a lot of the time throughout your life. I'm proof of that. I went from anxious, had avoidant tendencies, like I mentioned, to more secure. So I'm proof that you can change your attachment just with a bit of work. But I'd rather some work than a lifetime of not knowing what it's like to experience calm love. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you veer more anxious or more avoidant, or if you don't know your attachment style. Let me know and I can give you a link that helps you find your attachment style for free. Also, if you want a video on how I became secure in love, let me know, or anything that you're struggling with at all or that you'd like more information on, I would be happy to do that. This is a new channel, but like I said earlier, I'm a mindset and relationship coach. So as you can imagine, this channel will be covering all things from mindset, attachment styles, relationships, toxic relationships, human behavior, all those good things. So if you're new to this channel, which you are because this is my first video, please subscribe. That would mean the world to me. And if you like this video, let me know in the comments, or just give it a like. You know, that goes a long way. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one, and thank you so much for watching. See you. Bye. I need to feed this cat because she keeps meowing and I've had to stop a few times. It's not even my cat, but anyways. Bye.